Welcome everybody, welcome to the evening talk for SmartRobie as well from Trade VSA. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to come tonight. I hope my sound is coming you loud and clear, that you can hear me tonight. It's all about plastic counter. Now, as I was talking last Wednesday, I was thinking this topic and I started to notice all the plastic counters started to move. Today was a big move. I don't know whether because I was already promoting the plastic counter and you could see some of these stocks already move up, or it's just happened to be luck. What do you think? Let me know. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up in here. Now, it's quite important, especially for those of you who are listening the first time. I always try to give a bit of breakdown, knowing the fundamental and then just moving on to the technical. That's usually my Wednesday night talk where I go a bit more length, try to explain to you how the market works. So when you buy some of these stocks or decided to invest, you would find that what you have here, it's something that you don't need to be in and out, because a lot of the stocks that we normally talk about on the premium alert in the morning tends to be very fast one, but this here in here has some fundamental behind it, and I want to share with you this information in here. So tonight, this talk is about, can KLSE plastic counter grow as big as rubber glove like TopGlove and Hartalega? What do you think? Can you type it in there? Do you think it can grow or not? Just type it in there. I really appreciate you can do that. And then we will just go on from here. All right, let's move on. Now, don't forget to join our Telegram group. We've seen our numbers are approaching almost 6,000. Thank you to all of you for your support in here. We give the best information, all absolutely free. Unlike there are some groups out there who have some sort of a hidden gem, we don't really have to. Our point is always been to share this information that you can benefit from in here. So do join our Telegram group, especially those of you who are first timer in here. Do join that in here, and let's go on. Okay, and don't forget to subscribe in our YouTube channel, because some of you may be busy tonight or have to leave, and you usually ask me whether there's any recording. So all our talks are actually archived to our YouTube. So go over to youtube.com/tradevsa and click on subscribe, so you're able to find out some of the talks. Now, if you look at it, this in here, the rubber glove, Kosan, and those are the topics which I've talked about it already 1 month ago, and that's where we talk about ideas how to teach you to rotate out from those very popular stocks, especially those of you who just type one in here but haven't really got into it. Now, there was a good time. Ken said will grow but not as big as the glove boys. I think you also have that idea too. Welcome, thank you in here. Good. All right, so this is where, if you have not subscribed, do subscribe, and then you won't miss any of our great talks that we do in here. Of course, don't forget also our SmartRobie, all the KLSE Essential in One apps, and do share this with your friends, and if you share them, you get 200 credits, so you can use the premium alert every day. Also, tomorrow on Thursday, I'll be talking on the UOB Kehyang platform about how to use SmartRobie for daily comments and how to look for trade ideas on the news. So make sure you catch me tomorrow at 6 o'clock on the UOB Kehyang platform. You have to register through GoToWebinar. Just go to the UOB Kehyang page and you're able to find the registration there. They limit to only 500 people in there. I think usually get a big crowd over there. So I will talk about how to use SmartRobie to look for great shares to buy, just not these 3 shares in over here. All right, so make sure you do that. And also don't forget, this coming Merdeka, I'd like to wish all of you Selamat Hari Merdeka, 31st of August. We will also be launching our SmartRobie in Bursa version. We have 2 speakers here, Chef Saham, which has always been a great supporter, and also a practitioner of volume spread analysis, and also our Trade VSA coach Arif, to talk about. It will be narrated in Bursa. So those of you who want to know the experience that is used by Chef Saham in using SmartRobie, join us 31st of August. It will be on 11 a.m. Semua kita cakap bahasa kan? Alright, so take note of that one in here. Okay. So is the speed okay so far? If the speed is okay, just type 2, okay? Okay, the speed is okay, just type 2. All right. So in here, and I want to talk about the Bursa foreign fund flow, which is always talked about. Now, we notice I've been saying that the foreign funds flow usually always been in the negative side, is always around minus, average out about minus 200 million, and that's why you see this continue to minus 200 million. So far, we have this bunch of what we call a positive net flow. All right. So this is a premium package, okay, of the trade VA in the premium dashboard. So you can actually get this if you're a subscriber of our Trade VSA system. You're able to get this on the premium dashboard. You can see there's a net out a positive fund flow. You could see this market moving up. But right now we've seen this market couldn't break into and around 1570. We see the net outflow that is flowing, but this is still around the minus 150 million mark in here. But we have to be careful. It shouldn't exceed 200 million. If it's exceeding the 200 million, that means the market will go down. Right now, I personally think based on the foreign funds flows, which is trickling out, we still have some sort of a support at 1550 to 1560, which today the market has broke down a bit down, which I'll show you next. All right. Now, again, we are seeing also international investor in the selling mode. As you can see from the news which came out, foreign investors has acquired earlier on from Monday to Friday. That was last week, but then they are really out from the market. So this news that you see in here usually a bit late. That's why we use the Trade VSA on our package, able to get the foreign funds so to give you a better flow of things to come. So for our members, they will find this really benefit, as you can see from the system too. All right. Also, the Trade VSA, those of you who are listening for the first time, the Trade VSA has a buy and sell indicator, as you can see in here. Today, the market really closes 5%. Sorry, it's not 5 points, but it's 5%. Maybe just make amendment in here. 5 points, and it's down just slightly 0.5%. So okay, there you go, 5.26, so going down to 1549. Now, this is a very interesting chart which we are showing. As soon as the red pentagon comes out in here, this market in here is already going to be in a bearish mode. So usually when you see yellow, okay, this is bearish, okay, blue is bullish, okay. So when you're in the bullish mode, that's where you want to start buying stocks. So when you're on the yellow mode, you have to be very careful. You want to conserve cash. So that's the way to go. Now the key thing is that you have spring here. These are signs of strength, which we will talk about in our perhaps in some of our session in here on more of the technical things. But right now we are very important. It shouldn't break below the 1540 to 1545. Breaking below that will violate a lot of the market. But anyway, it's already bearish, so it's no surprise if the market were to break down. Remember, I already told some of our members and also those of you who are using SmartRobie, when the market breaks above here, this level here, 1590, that's a level you really want to be really buying going up. Or you just wait, okay, very easy, you just wait for the green pentagon to come in. So remember, Trade VSA with SmartRobie has always been free, so you can look at this chart after trading hours and you can see that this is something I usually cover on the Fridays breakfast show. So make sure you catch me on the Friday, Wednesday and Monday breakfast show, the breakfast show Money Talk with SmartRobie. So you had to wait for the green pentagon. So right now it's not, we are still in the bearish mode. That's a little bit just on the outlook side of things to come. Okay, let's move on. Okay, and let me just erase this so you can see this all slide. Now also technically what I want to also say here, let me just bring up the laser pointer here. You can see the market has gone up almost 38.6%. Technically, we're already out from the bull market, but the question has always been whether we can go higher. Right now, which I've covered today, because of the extended sell-off that we see on the rubber glove, and also because due to the COVID-19, I think many of you heard of it too, the COVID-19 vaccine, which continue to hog the headline. So guess what happened? People sell. So that's why it's important that those of you who are listening tonight, we want you to be able to rotate out from the plastic, okay, right into something tangible like what we're talking about in here. Rotate out from the rubber glove and to the plastic in here. We are still minus 3.2% from the last high in December 2019. Okay, let's move on. Now the first question is, many of you gonna, what plastic counter am I looking for in the KLSE and what category of plastics? Right, Malaysia has always been an exporter of a very semi-finished to very good products, and I always say before, Malaysian manufacturers, due to my visit in the area and also visiting a lot of this company, I found out Malaysian produce very Swiss quality manufacturing, but at a Asian price. That's why all the Americans and all the Europeans, they love Malaysia for our skill, to be frank with you. So the first person to really love our skill is no other than, right? So Warren Buffett, which is a value investor and he's an investor too, asks you, have you switched out from your rubber glove? Now, how many of you type in the answer in there? Have you switched out from rubber glove? If you have, just type switch so I know that you have switched out from your rubber glove. If not, you have some, it's also fine too. Just a little bit more. If you've been following me, I just want you to keep a little bit more rubber glove. If you have switched out, that's fine too. Now, we have said before, the very smart British and American, and this guy is no other than James Dyson. That's right. So James Dyson in here is trying to get you to buy more household product during the COVID-19 to keep you safe. Isn't that great, right? So because James Dyson is also one of the reasons why the EMS, another word that they use a lot is electronic manufacturing services, where we subcontract out a large part of those products. They basically just focus a lot on manufacturing, right? Sorry, they focus a lot on the design and the marketing. The manufacturing one, which is a low value, they give it back to the EMS to do. In this case, there are those three stocks. Just wait for a moment. I'm going to give it to you. Do you know what are those stocks coming out? Anybody can type it in? The plastic counter, right? If you know those plastic counter, because I'm going to give it you very, very soon, okay? If you know those plastic counter, let me know. All right, just type it in there. Just want to have a bit of fun too tonight, isn't it? Right? Some of you who are watching in here. All right. So this is so James Dyson is standalone really out from here. Okay, let's move on. All right. Move it. Okay. So the KLSE plastic and manufacturing makers are pretty simple the way I look at it. There's only two segments to it, okay? The number 1A, the one you see A, is what I call the disposable. So try to remember this because I want to make it very simple for you so you can understand this very easy. You have the disposable, which is the non-permanent one, which is for food packaging and medical. Then you have the general household product. Those are your permanent ones. So there's only two categories in here. So the first on the top left are the food packaging, not tomato, so don't get confused. It's not tomato, but it's the plastic that holds the tomato. That's the one that you have also thin film. But right now also corrugated boxes also is another part of it that usually come. And then the next one, which is the electronic manufacturing services. Anybody know what is this thing here? Can someone tell me? This one here. All right, what is this purple thing here? Can someone tell me that? All right. Someone tell me one. Can, right? This is the supersonic Dyson hairdryer, retail price at 1,600 ringgit. I wanted to get one actually the other day, but then my other half said, what for? You know, you can buy a 100 ringgit hairdryer. So, but I wanted to get it too. It's just see how good it is. I've seen it many times in the shopping mall. It was so tempting. I really want to get it. If not for my other half, I would have got it. Even though I don't need to blow my hair. See my hair? Very nice, isn't it? Still got a lot of hair, right? I like to have fun with you all, isn't it? Right? Isn't it? Good. Okay. So that's the supersonic hairdryer. And in it, there's a microchip called PCB. And these are chips that you use. So instead of just pure plastic, which is a real low value, they also have the PCB and also assemble in here. I think there's a lot of electronics that go behind over it, and we will look at those in here. So we have these two segments. The A, which is the food packaging, and B are the household product. I think some of you have already mentioned in there and already know some of these stocks in here. Okay, let's move on. So let's look at the first one, which is the general household product, the permanent one, okay? And they are no other than, okay, but let's look at why now, why it is so important now. Especially we talk about the pre-COVID, everybody has assumption that the market will do something, well, if it happened in here, but right now we have to re-examine because of the post-COVID-19. That's what it's all about, right? We never know TopGlove, we never know Hartalega will go up so much, right? And we were thinking maybe other sectors like the tech or maybe plastic or maybe even AirAsia should do well in the pre-COVID, but we didn't know when COVID came, totally kapus. That airline, and remember Genting too. Recently there's a news of Genting Hong Kong were defaulting their payment, not paying back their creditor. So all these things need to be re-examined, and that's what we are doing it tonight. So this information we're sharing with you, you will know much better. So when you look at the market, so let's examine the post-COVID-19 economy and market too. And let's look at the fact one. All right. Now, the first fact still remain for what it is, which is the US-China trade war, whether we have COVID or not. So this started back in 2018, right? So on the assumption, I know many of you will disagree. Do you think Donald Trump will win US election 2020 or Biden will win? I am preparing for two sides. In this slide, the hairdryer very good. Okay, Derek, you have 2 units. So in this slide, I'm preparing for Donald Trump to win the US election. Now, if they win the US election, likelihood the US-China trade war will continue. Why this is important? Because remember, who are the competitor to the plastic manufacturers, like what we talk about, the food packaging as well as the permanent household one, which is the 2 segments in there. Anybody know? China, isn't it, right? So that's why the US-China trade war will continue. So which means a lot of the business is going to come down. So if you look at this slide in here, which is prepared by some of the trade regulator, right? They say that Malaysia has the highest benefit next to Japan, India, Vietnam, but depending who you listen it to lah. Some say Cambodia, this one say Malaysia lah, because this is from a Malaysian source that I pick here. So that is a score of 10. Malaysia have really benefited, and we have seen that too. If you do notice, 2008 we see a surge in the plastic manufacture in there. But I also talk about other facts that also prevents this market from going further. So that's also fact number 1, which means if you see a US-China trade war happening, then you will know the persistence of it. Then we will see likelihood that these plastic counter will do. Let's look at the next fact. Okay, now the next fact is the Dyson factor, right? Now remember, this is a very recent news. Dyson cut 900 jobs worldwide as the firm blamed COVID-19. So he used this as an excuse, guess what, to move his operation to Singapore. That's right. But fact number 2, as a result of moving his operation and cost saving, his net worth has increased by 3.6 billion to 16.2 billion last year, thanks to rising international. So this guy is pretty smart, by moving in here, he has a hedge. Now we all know, right, his new headquarters in Singapore, and if you read the newspaper, he has the most expensive condo, something like 20 million somewhere in there. So this guy is pretty smart. He used the money and buy. He will probably think it's still cheaper than London. So, but a lot of UK people really hate James Dyson because he took the jobs out from US and moved it up to Asia, and guess what, we benefit too. So with him based in Singapore, now this plastic manufacturer, where are they based? Can you tell me where are they based? Type it in there, right? Singapore, what's the closest state? What is the closest state? Can you remember? Know that, right? Yes, I think you all know, right? Johor, isn't it? Many of them are based off in Johor. So the plastic manufacturers are there, they are closer. The last visit I went to, I visited Notion VTech, and Mr. Toh, he told me that James Dyson personally visit some of these factories for the first few where they want to test out the material. Other than that, he'll send his son Jake, which is working on the LED lighting one. So that's interesting to know. He's a very hands-on in there. So 1% misery in this case to the the UK market is a Malaysian blessing. That's right. That's how we see. So the proximity of these manufacturers, which we're going to talk about very soon, right? We just wait for a while. We're going to get those stocks, right? In Johor, probably know them, right? And that's what it is. James Dyson in here. All right. So let's move on. Okay, let me just get. So James Dyson, fact number 2, along the same line. So James Dyson, way back in 2018, his profit hit almost 1 billion. Right, his personal wealth has grown So for the first time in 2000, about 5 billion, and he invested in advanced manufacturing. As I said before, he used that money and he think very smart. He said, look, I got a bunch of very good engineers. They're hardworking. They're very committed, and give them very, 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 very little profit. Now you know what I mean by little profit, which means he take most of the profit. Very, very little profit they need to do, but I give them volume. Okay, I give them very, very, but they have to give me a good quality products. That's what they do. So this Masale are very smart. He squeezed the local plastic manufacturer in Johor base, right? Very thin margin, right? But he makes the most. That's a trademark of a capitalist, isn't it? Probably he's a Republican like Trump too. That's why he also moved out from UK. If you look at the way how he does his business, he have engineers and scientists all over the world. Okay, I think more and more will be employed in Singapore. Even my son also want to go and work for James Dyson for the technology. He's like the Apple for the household product in India. So as they continue to invest in Malaysia, less in UK, I think there are more and more opportunity. Now, the only question we have to ask ourselves, in this post-COVID-19 going forward, would you buy another hairdryer, a supersonic hairdryer, who was saying about it? So this is interesting to see, right? I do have a vacuum cleaner, right? I'm looking to buy another one of those fan inside there. But once you buy a Dyson, you will continue to buy a few more. I believe that is persistent. Those of you who have a Dyson at home, just type Dyson in there, all right? Dyson product at home or Dyson home. Then I will know how many of you have the Dyson home inside there. So it's going to be a bit of really understanding the product, because I always talk about investing on something that you know. I mean, if you have a handphone and it's an Apple handphone, and you're very proud of it. I know Apple people who have Apple handphones, they're very proud of it. Guess what? Go and buy Apple, share lah, correct now. So now you have Dyson at home. You cannot buy Dyson, right? Because Dyson is not listed. So what's the best thing you can do? You can buy some of those plastic manufacturers, which again, hang on, we're going to get to it, all right? I like to have a bit of fun, isn't it? Okay. So here we go. So these are the 3 companies which I find will do very well based on the Dyson factor. A little bit diluted now because of the profit margin due to the now these news are pre-COVID-19. ATA used to be called Danko. They're based off in Singapore. Then the SKP stand for Singquan P something lah. I can't remember, Resources. And then VS is just the other name. So they are led by all Datos, Datuk Sri, Datuk Gan, Datuk Bey. Okay. So the local news going before the pre-COVID way back last year was very, very positive about this. And when Dyson, James Dyson moved their HQ from UK to Singapore, there was a big hoo-ha in it. And also VS, the news board you see on the right hand side, climbed from the US and China trade war, which is the fact number 1 that I talk about. So fact number 1, fact number 1 is the US-China trade war. Fact number 2 is the Dyson factor. So with this, then you can sleep better and invest. I think that's very important to know the demand. That's one of the things I really want to share with you and really to teach you where you're going from. Okay, now let's look at the Dyson factor in here, and these are 2019, which my team obtained from the annual report. You can see ATA is around, ATA stand for, I can't remember the name, the Danko, just call them Danko, or AIB, the short form, ATA, IMS, that's right, ATA IMS, so the short name is called AIB. ATA IMS, so the short form is called AIB. Okay, just that this is something that you use in the newspaper and so forth, right? So you can see ATA has registered 2.9 billion, but their cash balance is very important. They are 270 million. SKP registered 1.65 billion, right? Has a cash of 122 million, and VS has 4 billion. Revenue with a cash of 375. So you look at it, the cash is almost 10%. Really, it's almost 10% of their sales, and this is really good. This Chinaman really save money, man. So hopefully, good. Many of you have a Dyson at home. Great. Me too. I have Dyson at home too. So that's good to know. So you can see here why many of our participants who just key in, they have Dyson, and I have Dyson too. And as a reason why, of course, if you have a Dyson, you should buy some of these share in here. Looking at, but the question is, when is the right time? Today, we already see now VS has started to make up a huge move. We're going to look into why is that for. All right. So these are the 3 stocks. I think now the question is, which one do you like? Now, I know some of you would. How many of you have all these 3? Now, if you have all these 3 shares, type it in there. Or if you have ATA, just type ATA. If you have SKP, you type SKP. If you have VS, you type. If you don't have anything, just say no, right? I want to know what you have inside there. So at least I know from a perspective of my so-called audience in here, whether you have those shares or not. Just type it in there. If you have all 3, just type all 3. ATA, SKP, or VS. So that's pretty good for me to see and try to understand, so I'm able to talk in those manners. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate that one. All right, let's go move on. Okay. So let's look at SKP first, led by the executive chairman, a very senior person. I think they're also passing on to their children right now from Datuk Gan Kim Hua, right? So you can see it has a very impressive clientele list. This is very important, and they've been around since the 1970s. So like Sony and Sharp and Pioneer has been the regular, because I don't think Sony and Sharp is going to go back and do plastic manufacturing here. So this is where we're going to see real benefits from these fellas in here, right? Okay, some of you said no. Okay, good. Some of you say you have VS. That's good to know. Okay, VS and no. So there's something you want to talk. So in here, these are very old clientele list that they have, which you have in here, but the one that give them the most business is Dyson from SKP. So they also have Flextronics, which one of the largest EMS based product in the world for electronic circuits, and Sony Ericsson, HP and Nortel. So why is this important? Because these fella Flextronics are supposed to do EMS, but the low value one, he sub it out to SKP. You see my point now? Just like main contractor, subcontractor. Subcontractor is SKP. The main contractor in this case is Flextronics, right? Even Flextronics also make Apple plastics, as far as I do know. They also grant it up to as other projects. So they don't do it, they sub it out. Right, so that's why this Masale company really squeeze the margin, and what is left to the Chinaman said, no problem, I can do for you, but you must give me bulk volume. You must give me volume. I can do for you very cheap. So later on I'll talk about the profit margin, very, very low. Correct, very, very low. So because of the Masale, they really squeeze. But this Chinaman, you can see this Datuk Gan Kim Hua. Look at his face. You know, all this war, all this wrinkle. You can see these are like corporate war where he really. But of course, he also enjoy life. I suppose that's what is hard work for. And that's the same thing. My team in here continue to produce good research and very enjoyable talk. I hope you like my talk, right? We make it very enjoyable when you're like watching a documentary, and that's one of the intention to do that. If you really like my talk, give me a thumbs up, okay? I really appreciate that one too, okay? So in here, we're going to go on to the next talk. Okay, no, not so much next talk. Let's talk about also SKP before we go on. Now SKP, you like it or not, it has a drop from the annual report. You can see a minus 25 million. Even the revenue also dropped 18%, but still profitable, no doubt about it. The cash balance has has dropped to 14 million from the cash balance in here. This is on a quarter-to-quarter basis in here, 14 million. So because of the slowdown in the business, they have seen volume dropping in here. The cash balance in here, total borrowing also has reduced. So you can see this was due to the impact of COVID-19. Okay. Now, if you look from the SmartRobie, again, whatever research that we do, use the SmartRobie to benefit you too. So you can see right now, SKP hasn't run like what VS in. It has a green pentagon. That's something great. I think today is also up. This was 25th of August, the day before. So you can see if VS already moved, SKP will move, and then 88 Denko will move. But VS has moved a lot. So this is an opportunity for you to get back in. But let's look at it, which one before you choose, okay? If you look at here, next one, okay? So you also look at the fundamental right now, you may see this is pretty expensive. That's why it's only rated 1. You have a PE of 27 times, ROE or 12, pay a 1.8% dividend. You can see this one is overpriced because the way SmartRobie calculates, if you have a PE of 27, you better have at least 15 or 18 to 20 return on equity, else it will consider to be very expensive. So check it out, GCB, which I've talked about previously in the 100 to 1. Those of you who follow me, those of you, how many of you bought GCB? If you bought GCB, type GCB, okay? And that one really, you all make money, isn't it? GCB, isn't it? I'll talk about GCB, all right? So, because that's a classic example of why the rating is really good, rated 5 out of 6 inside there, right? Yeah, and this one is a quarterly one, Sophie, only 40 million. The one we look at it is the annual report. So I use the front page for the annual report. That is a quarterly one, okay? Because you look at it 40, 10% ma, all right? Okay, yep, you got GCB. Okay, good. Let's move on in here. Okay, so another one, SKP, the sentiment continued to be very positive where they talk about SKP Resources is concerned. So use the tab menu for news. Then the question is this a good enough to buy SKP Resources, right? So always examine the fact, especially those of you who want to buy for longer term. Look at the news, which I've shown you here. Look at the chart, look at the fundamental and go for it. That's what I want to train you guys to use SmartRobie. So it's so much easier to use this. So SKP may rebound. Net profit, you can see fell in here. Then another feature which is used in trading view, and you can see this also from the Malaysian stock.b. You can see this is where I talk about the margin around 5%, but it has dropped 2000. So if the volume goes up, this fella will drop. So the question is, now it dropped to 1.7 because of also the COVID-19. You can see this is a drop to 7 million, 4.6 to 1.7 million. So in here, now this is for me, it's an alarm bell ringing, cling, 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 right? You can see alarm bell decreasing profit margin in here. So that's not very good, SKP. And another thing is number 2 here, you can see also decreasing earnings per share. So this is another warning too. But so what does it mean? It means it could be just for a pure trade, not so much on the fundamental in here. Because if the market were to go up, in my opinion that you see here, the quarterly earnings for next quarter, I believe coming September, this coming September should be better. That's what, remember the stock always move ahead of it. Usually when you see movement like this, that tells you this coming quarter. All right, you want to know when is the next quarter? Go over to trading plan for SKP, type it there in the SKP. You can see that date should be there. All right. If it's not there, let me know. I'll get my team to look into it. Okay, it's absolutely free. Those information here. Still can buy GCB. Again, go back to GCB. Look at the trading plan, Belinda. Okay. In here, okay, but GCB is actually a good stock. I didn't get it GCB. One of the things is that I stay away from food, but from a standpoint, I'm more of a technology guy. I like those kind of things. For food, I just got Nestle. That's all. If you ask me. Okay, so this one in here, you can see the next quarter is coming better. Let me just move on. I don't want to skip too late. Now, the next company you look at is ATA or AIB, ATA IMS. ATA IMS, this client, now one thing I really like about the management from Dato Sri James Foo, he really go out and get new clients. This came in this year, the news during the pre-COVID, ATA has found 5 new customers, okay, and that will contribute beyond to 45% of its revenue for 2020 and beyond. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is a stock I like. You know I like it, right? So they have secured Segacom, I hope I got that. Then they got the Schneider Electric, Swiftlet, Ecobee, and Cricut. So those are different plastics that they use. Of course, they still have Dyson in here. But again, these are on IoT, which I will talk about another slide. Going forward, the post-COVID economy is going to be very digitized, which I've talked about in our past talks. So if you have not watched it, go over to YouTube and you can see that this series of talk that I continue to go on will teach you how I look at things. So you can see why the IoT, Internet of Things, are important, and you can see these are really a forefront of what ATA is doing. So invest in this kind of company. All right, so you look at it here. This is again from the annual report. You can see it's 0.5, so very low gearing as of March 2019, increasing revenue of 26%, profit before tax about 18.8. If you take off the profit margin after tax, will be much less. Declares a margin of a dividend of 3%. Of course, these doesn't make sense. We still need to compare. We go down to the fundamental data in here. Okay, so if you look at the chart, ATA hasn't run up in here yet. You can see it has a big push coming down here, but very nicely well supported by what we call the railway track. And this is one of the stocks that I like. You have Green Pentagon in here, continue to move up in nice track here. It's a fast, slow moving, not like your what's that, the Comfort glove or your Carex or your Notion VTech. Maybe I should mention Notion, it went up and it came back down. All right, so these are the one very slow moving. I think it's good to put a good fair bit amount on that one and look and buy these kind of companies in here. All right. Then you also look at the fundamental used to be Denko, as I said before, from the website. Again, the FA rating is not available in here, but the ROE is not too bad. It's 26 times, not expensive, but for a growth stock, we can call it a growth stock in the post-COVID market. Not as fast as rubber glove, not as, which I'm going to talk about later, but not as fast as the technology, but then it is still considered as overvalued because of the ROE. Robie does it that it is very independent. It see what it sees and it just gives what it takes based on the number that it crunch. All right. Now, if you look at the sentiment analysis, it's very positive. Early sign of resuming upward. That was July 16. Okay. Then June 19, net profit fall on temporary factory closage. This is the one January where I talk about it. Right, 45% contribution from the new customer. So that's why it's important before you buy anything, check with the news that you see on SmartRobie, so you're pretty clear on those things. Take note of that one. All right. Okay, let's move on. Now, if you look at it, one of the good signs I like about ATA, IMS or AIB, you can see it fell and then went back up 2.4%. If you can improve the profit margin, that's good. And also here, you can see the chart as it go higher, it went as high as $2 in here. Now, I don't talk so much on the chart. Usually, my colleague Zac will cover them 9:30. So make sure you check 9:30 on Friday, because Thursday my colleague Arif will come in with a new topic tomorrow night, and we will get it prepared out. So you can see here, you can see this market continue to improve on its earnings, just a little bit dip during the COVID-19, but I do think what you see in here, the market is about to push up, is due to the next quarter in September coming. Remember, folks, those of you listening, you want to buy ahead of the news announcement. Remember when Hartalega announced maximum peak performance, that was the high of the market. Remember Hatta, and then the market sell down. Right? You all know about that, right? So that tells you, if you've been following me, you need to understand price and volume. That's why we keep emphasizing and we keep teaching in our courses. Understand the price and the volume. This is where you can exit at the top. Right? For those of you who want to switch out, that's a way to maximize your profit. Learn price and volume, very important in here. You don't want to be buying when the news comes out, just like here. So you can see now the market is turning up in here because of the quarterly earnings. You can see, right? The earnings are pretty low base in here, but once earnings push back up, you can see this is the peak. By then it could hit $2 or 175. Just take note of that one. Something I want to share with you guys in here. Yeah, 88. Wow, went up 22 cents. Yeah, there. 22 cents already hit 170 something, it is, isn't it? Yeah, 22 cents. This was, I mark up today this one in here. Right. Okay, good. So wait for the pullback. If you have a chance. Because maybe, is it because of I've been talking about the plastic counter and somebody spotted it and decided to buy it? Or I choose it because the stock is going up? What do you think? Whether my talk has some influence to the market. Okay. I hope you like what you're seeing in here, right? We talk about fundamental, we talk about things, and make it very, very simple, very, very enjoyable to it. I find some of my talks, I try to make it as simple as possible. Even your children can come and listen to, where we talk about, okay, last but not least is VS. We make it very visual for you. You can see it has 4 big customers in there. Dato' Bay Kim Gan, all right, which is the chairman in there. They have a whole family one. I tell you, all them. If you go deeper, Dato' Sri James Fu and his family helping him, his children and his father as a mentor. Dato' Bay here also same thing, and also all these Chinamen are all family run business. That's why they keep the cost low, and the Masale like it a lot. That's why you notice the margins are below 5% because they squeeze the hell out of them too. So also you notice for VS, which is also another $1 billion company in here, Bessel, Dyson, the coffee maker, Krugig, and Zodiac, which is actually a pool vacuum. Right, you notice this one, B-Cell, it's very similar to Dyson. You notice how they use also a cycle. They don't sell it here, they sell it in US. I've never seen this in Malaysia. Malaysia, Dyson is well. It's a 140-year-old company, family-owned vacuum cleaner, and that's why also the same goes for Dyson. He invented the backless one, and they stick with that one. Okay, something good for you to sort of know. But Okay, now let's look at the financial highlight. If you notice, they have ROE of 10.87. You know, you can read all about it. 5 times payout. Wow, that's a lot, man. Dividend. They pay out 4.4 cent. Also very low gearing. Lots of cash inside there. Gross, this one cash holding 379 million. Pretty impressive, isn't it? So if you look at all three, I like for ATA, right? Then followed by VS, and then SKP is the last one. SKP has never not improved its customer base. I think that's important when you go forward for the IoT. A lot of the business coming in, you want them to focus more on the new segments. That's where the growth is. All right. So you look at in here, VS been one of the best I've seen so far in terms of chart. From way back in June, around 90 cents, it's almost up 80 to 90%. It's actually the way that the chart looks like, it's actually look like a technology stocks. Seriously, if you look at PayPal, you look at Apple, it just go in a straight line, right? I don't know for what reasons that is going up in here. There's not much of a news. It's just smart money been buying, or usually the case that we see with VS is because the next quarterly earning is going to be good, like like Hata or TopGlove. The market move first, and then so just take note. If you have a chance, and those of you who have the courage, you want to jump in and buy, go ahead, be my guest, okay? Because this stock is, if it's going to go up, it's going to go up. But very important, those of you who are investing, think from a longer perspective. Try to get in and have a system. That's very important to have a system. If you've been listening enough, I have a system. SmartRobie is a system. Use it. It's free, okay? That's how you keep you intact, okay? Okay, you want to ask Zac to check the ATA INS, okay? So we will do that on Friday, Chai, okay? So this is where so let's move on to next one here. So then we look at the fundamental. There's only one. You can see the PE, of course, because it shoot up so much, the PE has gone up too. More pricey, isn't it? 32 times, and the ROE is only 6. If you look at it, the 88. So on a one-to-one footing on the fundamental, you'll see ATA IMS is a better one. Okay, and it is also Sharia. It's very hot. You can see this is using what we call API to find out some of the hot stock. That's why it's hot and it's popular in here. All right, so it's overvalued in here. That's what Robie recommend for sell. All right. Now, if you look at in terms of here, again, it's a loss making, maybe loss making. It's going to make it loss making in the third quarter of 2020. So over here, you can see the market really fell from $2.50 straight up to $2. And this was this big move that you see right here, right? A double bottom around 75 cents. Big, big drop, 750. 250 to 75 cents, then move back up. You heart attack one, I tell you, this kind of stock. Right. So you can see, if you look in terms of earning, it didn't drop much, but when it went down to negative, this was the big wash. Okay, it washed it in here. So right now, you think this coming quarter, the price gain is for the next quarter. This is what I think, the temporary price gain in here. But going forward, the price gain for the next quarter must continue to go up if it need to sustain above 175, 150 level in here. So that's very important. Yep, you wait for the KYY buying also. This one, Lahi. Possible, this crazy old man. I tell you, all these shares that he buy, kacau only. So buy before he buy. Okay, but unless you understand the fund, don't chase people, okay? Learn, like GCB. I want to teach you guys, when you go and buy GCB, nobody. After you buy GCB, the KYY come and buy, right? Then you're happy lah. Okay? Okay, so first idea I want to talk about all this IoT is the what we call the rule of engagement. In the post-COVID 2021, when we talk about the economy expanding, you need to adopt the aggressive growth stock. So definitely this one is one. It's not really aggressive, like in a sense, because it depends on the growth of the segment, which I will talk about in here. But the technology, the IoT, which I talk about, ATA, IMS, has those 5 new clienteles which focus. I believe those will be good too. All right. So I hope those information for those 3 segments. Now we're going to go on to the next side of it, which is the food packaging. Okay. Now idea number 2. Which falls into the food packaging. Now, you know that little small thing is COVID, right? So during the COVID, this is a research based on McKinsey. You can see what has happened. You've seen a lot of our entertainment, really food service packaging, folding paper box, curricular boxes. These been less. People are not buying so much of the footwear, but what is being used are flexible, rigid plastic corrugated boxes. This is the change in the US consumer in here, because the fact that we will know that COVID is not going to go very, very soon. So we have to keep that in mind. Now, despite I talked about last week on the vaccine, go and listen to the talk. For those of you who come in for the first time, listen what I have to say about the post-COVID-19 vaccine. And I've talked about it, that the vaccine, technically it's not ready yet. Also we have the D614G, which is a mutated one. Do you know that the vaccine they created is the first version? Yep, the first version, this year March version. This D614G may not work. So it's going to be back to the drawing board. Probably they add another formula inside there. So that tells you the COVID is going to come in, which means they are protective packaging. How many of you bought a lot of stuff from Shopee or from Lazada during this COVID-19? Type it in there, all right? Shopee or Lazada, all right? Then you will know the amount of packaging that was going to be used, because that is going to lead on to my next talk, okay? Okay, good. So this is why we see what we see. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, so within the same idea, you can see there is a lot of machine that's going to be needed, and some of these companies, which I'm going to show you next, we have those three for the permanent one. Now we have the disposable one, right? The corrugated boxes in here. They're going to be used a lot, right? So again, let's go back to the household studies too, right? How big is the market? Now the global market, right, it's going to reach, based on the statistics, is 763. This is pre-COVID. But if you put in the COVID, we have a drop of minus 1.8%. 2020 is going to be less 2.3%, because the target growing 5% because of the COVID is going to drop back to 2%, then resume back to, so it's a small dip. So having said that, that's why you see a lot of stock price like ATA, VS all drop and now recover back, because when you go to 2021, which is another 4 more months coming in, that market based on 1.8 is going to dip back up to 2.21. So that's why you see the market is pushing up inside there. I know many of you see this as what I'm going to do. Okay, so you got to be going and buy, but again, use the trade setup that we teach in our masterclass, okay? And those of you who want to, we have a masterclass registration open in coming October. If you're interested, you can come back. You can always come and re-attend. Many of our members has benefited because you only pay once, you attend 5 times. So let me know if you're interested, okay? So that's what we have. So again, if you look back in terms of the plastic for electrical appliances, okay, now we just talk about the food packaging. Here you can see one of the big row are refrigerator, but you notice the vacuum cleaner and the personal care and the air treatment, the filter one, for some of the Dyson they have in inside, they are growing double digit. Again, this is pre-COVID based on 2018. So if you just discount it by 5%, take off 5% in that, then you'll be fine. So they were still growing 17% in here, because people still need to buy things inside here. Now going back to the next part I will talk about is the food packaging, which is the non-permanent, which I'll talk about it, why the post-COVID is important. Some of you, yes, you all have Shopee and Lazada and both. Good, I also do that too. I bought a lot of stuff from Shopee. I bought a lot of stuff from Lazada. So one of the stocks you should buy to benefit from is revenue. I talk about revenue, okay? Watch out for revenue, okay? I told you guys already. I have revenue anyway. Okay, let's move on. So if you look at it, the household packaging, there are 3 counters. I wouldn't spend so much time because it's most static. I'm just going to give you a snapshot of it. Packaging, Sintex, Tongguan, and SCGM. Okay, if you look at it, they're pretty big too. 3.2 billion, close to 1 billion Tongguan. But Sintex, you can see 30% come from property, 30 or 20% depending on how you, because they do a lot of affordable housing in Johor, in Malacca, also extending a little bit to Klang Valley. But they have cash, 2.57 million. Tongguan is based off in, I think is in Penang. And SCGM, I can't remember it. So SCGM is smaller, so that's why they only made about 200 million, but they have about 8.3 million cash balance inside there. So here my pick is Sintex, but Sintex is pretty expensive. But Tongguan has moved up a bit more. So look at the charts before you decide in here. Sintex being the more stable one, it's you buy Sintex, I tell you, you're not going to lose money. This guy is a big thinker. He's even thought about doubling to $10 billion company in 10 years or 2030, something along the line. I know how this fella think, Lim Peng Jin from Sintex. I know few of his people think like that, and they are big thinkers. When you look at the margins, this guy is going to grow. But the question is whether you have the patience to ride up with them. They used to be a $6 company. They've grown up to about now about 9 something. That's right. So the property does cushion some of it, affordable housing, but the real bulk of the money that he made from the company come from food packaging and so forth. Yeah, SCGM is also correct. Thank you. Tongguan is in Sungai Petani. That's right. Yep. SCGM is... Okay, you guys know more better than me where they are. Okay, so you can see the plastic segment, how big is it? Because the idea number 3, which I'm going to talk about, going back to it, because of the post-COVID, there'll be a lot of food packaging in here. There will be increased. If you look in terms of plastics usage in Malaysia, from the Malaysian plastic manufacturer, 48% are used in packaging. You can see that, right? This is a packaging one. I hope those of you, all right. And then electronics is 27%. The household automotive one, right? Household and automotive is only 3% in here. You can see a small part of it, but because of the value added by the electronics that they put in, that's what the amount gets so big. But it's just looking for pure plastics as raw material as well. So if you notice in here, the growth of the online food delivery, all right, these are estimates from the Android market research. You can see for the post-COVID-19, lot more people are be ordering online. Like you said, many of you, right? Yeah, Tongguan also want for one bonus issue. Yeah, they are giving a lot of bonus issue for that one. So we are seeing this electronic online food delivery is coming in here. So there's a lot of these things, which means the market is growing. Not as big as it is, right? It is growing. So in short, I'm going to wrap it up right now. Can the EMS, the first question I have, plastic counter like EMS, I'm going to focus back on the EMS group in there, ATA, IMS, or I call it AIB, VS and SKP. Can they grow as big as TopGlove and Hartalega? What are your thoughts on Tommy Bag? Tommy Bag sudah makan from Syntex. So they are part of Syntex already. Sudah kena makan already. Okay? So let me know on this one here. Alright? So here you notice one thing, the rubber glove. Very important. I always look at in terms of employment, because from Malaysian, good for all jobs, number one, it must create employment. Okay. Number 2 is revenue, and number 3, profitability, because that is going to come back to the shareholders in here. So if you look from that, right, if you compare those two, okay, Tan Sri, Dr. Lim Vichai from TopGlove. Are we there yet? Now you look at this, now you compare, TopGlove hit 4.8 billion, 2.8 for Hata. Those are the 2 big numbers there. You can see ATA is there. So in short, they are not there yet. Right? Fact number one, the rubber glove like TopGlove, Hata are bigger. And they are like 20 to 30% more revenue than these fellas inside there. And partly, it's because if you look at it, they have a big jump, 4.8, now almost 5 billion. It's because of the COVID-19, which I'll talk about. So that's fact number 1. Now, move on. Now, fact 2, okay, along the same line. So unlike rubber glove, EMS player, all right, they rely on gradual growth, like global population and income level growth, like in China and EU. So you will remember point 1 and point 2, okay? So this is why the rubber glove grow for what it is, because of the COVID-19. The EMS in this example, led by Dr. Bae Kim Ling from the VS, is there'll be gradual growth, and the COVID-19 stops it for a while. Let's look at point number 3. Now the point number 3 is the US-China trade war. They intend to benefit from both sides. Whoever wins, I think they will do, because the supply chain has already been there, and once they get used to it, with the exception of TopGlove, they have to fix up the US custom and border. There's no news yet in there. So whoever wins the election in the US 2020, they will still do business with them, okay? Oh, Daibuchi, that's right, yeah. Tommy Daibuchi, yeah, correct. Daibuchi was bought up by Syntec. George, thank you very much. Okay. What's your take on resin and raw material on plastic and LCTA? I've not given much thought about it. BB plastic, I don't look at those second tier. I look at the top one because there's more research on this one in here. The second tier one, if you look at BB plastic, technically just go for the charts. Okay. I look at the front tier, just like, rubber glove. I tend to buy either the TopGlove or the Hata, the Kosan, and I'll miss out because I'm in for the slightly longer term. But if you're just purely on trading, if it's on plastic, look at the margins, look at the fundamental, and look at the charts, use SmartRobie and type it in there, it's okay. If you give them too much thought on it, then you tend to worry. Even if you just trade on VS, you can go in and just trade it. But if you want to keep it longer, then use this fundamental to back up, because so you sleep better, isn't it? Right. Number 4, okay? All right. Now, number 4 and number 5. The thing good about rubber glove, every 3 to 5 years, there will be a virus outbreak like what we saw previously in H1N1, and also right now we have COVID-19. 5 years from now, there will be another one. So rubber glove get a little bit more upside. Now, compared to the EMS, the surge in technology, of course, with the IoT and internet, then you'll see more growth in the household and commercial appliances. So that's really two difference in here. And then number 6, right, is the black swan. Now, black swan tend to favor the rubber glove. Black swan will kill some of those EMS manufacturer, right? Some of those, if you're small, they couldn't survive, they don't have enough cash. That's why we saw the big names like ATA, SKP, they all were very strong cash flow. So the black swan is very important. The black swan helps Lim Wee Chai and his associate, which is the Hata. But the COVID-19 vaccine, which I'll talk about, you want to know my opinion, go and watch for that one in here. So next one. So as a summary, we're going to get down to the summary in here. The KLSE Plastic counters like EMS, VS, AIB, SKP is part of the global supply chain and won't change that much despite who wins the US election. Key is global demands for household product, which is around post-COVID will be 8 to 10%. If the world recover, we might see slightly more than 10% for the growth. All right. Point number 2, it's good to diversify out to the plastic EMS like VS, AIB, have around 10 to 15% exposure in this sector. I like AIB because of the new clientele list that they have, and also VS. Use Robie trading plan, and for VSI, which is the volume spread, that's not VSI, us is VSA, VS industry, use a pullback trade. Now learn a pullback trade, very important. Now the black swan event will tend to favor the top glove maker because every 3 to 5 years have one. Plastic counters is only 50 to 70% size of top glove, but if they have another big event like the black swan, it's going to hit them, the sales is going to come down. But if everything works out well, the population growth, income level growth, then you will see the EMS do well too. In short, also the difference between is the profit margin. You can see 5% here, less than 5% are for the EMS players. More than 9%, 10% are for the top glove because they can demand higher because they do it. And last but not least, I always say it's always good to don't follow blindly. Learn and understand your skill and ready to know more. Continue to watch all our free video that we have in here because we definitely want to do this. All right, LC Titan is good too. If it's because it's all tied to this thing. No, right now it's pharma that's running. Okay, after pharma running it, it's going to switch back to this. Earlier was the furniture. That's right, furniture. And now furniture is still going up. Next one will be this, because this is all recovery. You see that, right? So it's very, very logical, right? So remember this rule of engagement where IoT comes in, the progressive, so that's going to be a recovery play. Even if you buy any of those three, you still make money. And on the food packaging one, it's because of the food and the COVID-19. That's the case for that. Now, make no mistakes. During this COVID-19, like many of you, we are still stuck on the COVID. Get yourself educated. I think those of you who have been watching this, I really thank you for it. Do share this video in your timeline and get properly there. Now, one of the best way to really know how we look at markets, I've shared with you all the fundamental stuff. Learn the setup, learn the trade, and look for those scans. If you just go on it, one of the best ways is actually perhaps you want to consider our unlimited attendance of 3-day masterclass. The next one is in October. Okay, we are coming out from a bear market, very important, and we are going to go to a bull market. We are actually in a bull market right now. It's just that you don't see. That's all. Right. Last but not least, the Trump and Biden continue. The RNC is still ongoing on the day 3. RNC stands for Republican National Convention. The DNC, they just done it. The Democrat one is pretty impressive. I've seen Biden, Michelle Obama, the big whole gang of Democrat. Then the Donald Trump, the family comes out. You all know about the family. So that is going to have a really impact into the market. We will want to see this market rallying. We think that US has a lot of great potential in here, as such that our new syllabus October 3 and 7 will include US. So if you miss out the last one we did 2 weeks ago, the next one will be in October. Do register for that one if you really thought to. And last but not least, get a good system just like Tiger Woods does. Get a coach. I can be your Sifu. We have Zac. We have four or five coaches in there to be able to help you out, you guys over there. All right. And don't forget, this coming Saturday, I will be talking on the momentum trading, magic numbers, and KLSE Slim, which is a rework of what Coach Arif is talking about. I have my team of coaches, Arif and Jack, to join me again on Saturday, 2 p.m. on the 29th August. So make sure you join me again. Now we will talk strictly all about trading. Today is a lot of fundamental. That one, we'll talk about trading using KLSE Slim and using the magic numbers to pick those stocks. All right. If those stocks quantitative fits well, we do the trade. All right. Okay. And the launching of our Bursa version of SmartRobie will happen on the 31st of August on Tuesday at 11 a.m. You have time and you want to listen to us in Bursa and have some sharing in there, and I'd like your support to come in to join us on the Bursa version in there. Okay. So with that, I finish for tonight, and do join our Telegram chat group. A lot of free information in there. Thank you for your time. I really enjoy it. I hope you learned something tonight. Know about the condition of the market, what each company is doing. I have a more confidence now to buy those plastic counter and also look into Syntex. Very interesting. I know it's a bit expensive, but I think it's a good stock that continue to grow higher in there. All right. With that, I bid you good night and have the remaining night. Well wishes to all of you. Join me on Friday for the breakfast show, Money Talk with SmartRobie. I will be talking about the news and corporate headline that will put money in your pocket, and also Saturday event too. I'm always, and my team Trade VSA will be here helping you to put money where back it should be, which is your pocket. Good night. And if those of you who have some questions you want to ask me, text it in there. There is a phone number you can put on the right hand side of the screen, and you can text us if you want to know anything about our courses or just want to chat with us. You can send me a messenger. Thank you guys. I really appreciate your time and your kind attention with me tonight. Good night.